Okay, it is 6 o'clock. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 38, Section 18, and the Governor's February 12th, 2022 revised order extending remote participation by all members any meeting of a public body. This meeting, the Great Barrington Select Board, in joint meeting of the Great Barrington Select Board and Zoning Board of Appeals, will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and a requirement to attend this meeting can be found in the town's website. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Pursuant to MGL 7C 30A, Section 20F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may make a video or audio recording of an open session of a meeting of a public body, may transmit the meeting through any medium. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair shall inform other attendees of any such recordings. This meeting is being recorded by the Berkshire Edge, Berkshire Eagle, and the town of Great Barrington and other members of the public. Any member of the public wishing to speak at the meeting must receive permission of the chair. The listing of agenda items are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed. Other items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. So we'll start with the joint meeting between the ZBA and the Select Board. So I'll start with a roll call of the Select Board. Garfield Reed.
Here.
Eric Gabriel.
Here.
Lee Davis.
Here.
Ed Abrams.
Here.
And Steve Bannon present. Ron, go ahead with your board.
All right, Carolyn. Aubrey. Oh, you're muted.
Okay, here.
Madonna Mager,
Here.
Michael Wise,
Here.
and Steve McAllister,
Here.
and Ron Magdalene.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
I make a motion to appoint Peter Most to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Do I have a second? So I have a second by Ed, motion by Lee. Any discussion?
I think it should be, he's appointed as an alternate, not as an alternate member. I don't know if that's.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll add that in there, Carolyn. Thank you. So for the Select Board, and then we'll do the same thing with the ZBA. Garfield,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Ed,
Aye.
and I. It's unanimous. Go ahead, Ron.
Madonna,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
and I'm I also.
So Peter Most has been appointed as an alternate member. Ron, if you want to adjourn your meeting.
Very well. Anyone have anything else to say? Okay, the meeting's adjourned then. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Select Board's regular meeting with all members present will now start. Select Board's announcements and statements. Garfield.
Just have a few things. And I trying to remember, but I have to admit, I don't remember. Last week we okayed, or 2 weeks ago, we okayed the monies for the GB Day. I've had 4 responses so far. KLX, SoCo Creamery, Robbins Candies, and the Berkshire Food Co-op are all on board. I'm going stumping tomorrow, but I can get 6 more merchants to go in with us. I think 10 will be enough to have the day. And I would look for probably $400, and whatever was not spent, of course, would be returned. All receipts will be gathered. And I understand you wanted some information also from the day, if it does indeed happen. And I don't exactly remember what, I think it was Lee and Ed wanted some details, if you will. If you refresh my memory, I'd appreciate it.
Should I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just, I think this is a great initiative and I would love for this to take off, and data is always a good way to proceed with special, initiatives that are starting off such as this. So I was hoping that we could, see how many of these were actually used, and, at least from that point of view, start from there to see how many actually are getting used and what establishments. And if anyone else has any other, I don't know if we should do a survey following up, probably just to say if any of the establishments had further comments or suggestions. But that would be at least the minimum, just to see how many were actually utilized and what was the discounts offered, and which ones were the most successful.
Mhm. Certainly. I do have one other thing.
So let me just finish with that.
Yeah.
Does any board member object to the $400?
No, didn't we approve 500 at the last meeting?
Yes, I couldn't remember how
That's what
much.
I thought we did too. So it's kind of why I was.
No,
asking.
I have no problem with 400 either.
And you'd probably be okay with
Thank
300?
Yeah.
Okay, go with your next thing, Garfield, please.
The other thing is, and I hope I'm not being overly protective or whatever, but when we do indeed put in our new safety measures in the sidewalks and the road, et cetera, I'd really like it if we had some type of teaching mechanism or letting people know and letting cars know that you just can't race by people if they're on the island. And I'm a little concerned of people thinking that they're on the island and they can just go ahead and speed on by. I could see people waiting on that island for a while sometimes. So I just want to make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed and people are fully aware of its purpose and how it works. And automobile drivers are also aware of that being there and how it functions.
Thank you, Garfield. Eric,
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Ed,
Yeah, just a request, which is probably already on staff radar for our an update on reed cleaners, which I assume will happen when we do our priorities next week.
it is. Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Ed, for reminding us. Lee,
I wanted to bring up the last meeting, the June 27th meeting, the discussion on the Main Street traffic calming measures. And I realize that a vote did take place and that we're moving forward. And as many of you know, I feel strongly that I don't believe that we voted in a way that protects the pedestrians as much as I would like to, but I respect the other board members' feelings on this. But what I would suggest and would request is that because we made two significant changes from what the experts had recommended, not having an island and not making it one way at the point that they recommended, that we invite them back to show us these two changes that were made at the meeting, because I don't feel that I really understood what the significance of the changes were until I actually reviewed the tape again just before this meeting. And I have very, very deeply concerns. I have deep concerns about the way that we had made those changes. And I would also recommend or ask that if we do allow them to come back with these revised plans on how the vote had taken place, that we invite the emergency responders, because I know that I had requested a compromise with mountable islands for the Rotary, which I feel that is still an option that we should look at. Because Ken and Tyler had mentioned about the false sense of security for pedestrians when it's just a marked island. So I would love if there's a way to bring Tyler and Ken back with the proposal that we voted on and answer some questions, because I feel that there's some more discussion that should happen.
it's just so you understand, they've been given the go-ahead to do this. This is going to happen. There's no turning around. We've spent the money. We've given them the thumbs up to plan this. They can come to the meeting, but we've taken our vote and we're moving ahead with this. The
I guess
select board,
yeah.
the select board can't keep changing their minds and spending town money and then saying, no, don't do that. I mean, I understand.
Yeah. I mean, because we made significant changes that were different from what the experts had recommended, I would ask for them to show the select board what these changes are so that we can all see them, because I feel like they were done on the fly and they are alternate suggestions that the board came up with. And at least just to add that to the agenda so that they could come back and say, okay, well, this is what your vote is going to result in, and maybe give some public comment time.
Well, there's no reason for public comment because we can't go back. Having public comment is just going to cause controversy that we don't need to cause. We can do that on our own.
Okay, well, I'd like to make a request that they come back and show us what we voted on, please.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Town manager's report.
Okay, thanks, Steve. I just have two quick items for this evening. First is Houstonic Waterworks will be meeting in executive session again this evening. I know the board is aware of that. I just wanted to mention that publicly for attendees at the conclusion of this meeting to continue our strategy sessions with our attorney. Also, it appears we have another water main break on Main Street in Houstonic. We're aware of it. Houstonic Waterworks is aware of it, and we'll be getting a notice out to impacted residents in Houstonic through our code red system tomorrow morning. And the last item that I have for this evening is this question about whether we will be resuming in-person meetings, moving to a hybrid format. And the short answer is I really don't know, and we're not alone. Every city and town in the Commonwealth right now is waiting for the Senate, the House, and the governor to sign a bill. We're in a period of transition, and I apologize to everyone that's waiting patiently. As you all know, the temporary provisions that allow us to meet remotely are expiring on the 15th, which is this coming Friday. The House and Senate each passed different versions of bills that would allow for extensions into 2023, but nothing's been signed by the governor as of today that I know of anyway. So I suppose we'll know more in a few days. And in the meantime, the select board meeting room for anyone that hasn't been into town hall in quite some time is right now being renovated, renovated technology wise anyway. The large screen computer and monitor is now mounted to the wall. The floor is wired with outlets for laptops, tablets, devices like that for meetings. And our sound system is in the process of being installed. So we're getting very close. And as soon as we have some clear direction from the state level, we'll be ready to transition to hybrid meetings. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Licenses and permits. The Guthrie Center for one-day beer and wine license for Sunday, July 23rd from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Live podcast recording. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to grant the Guthrie Center for a one-day beer and wine license for Sunday, July 23rd from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Second.
Is there anyone here from the Guthrie Center? Just raise your hand if there are.
Yes, this is Mo Guthrie of the Guthrie Center.
Hi, Mo. Thank you. Is this a public event? It's not a public event.
It is not it's a ticketed event. So the Guthrie Center is partnering with an organization called Sing for Science. And Matt White of Sing for Science will be interviewing Arlo Guthrie and an anthropologist, Dr. Ellen Messer from Tufts University. The discussion will center around food policy, food justice, and the relationship between food scarcity and war. So we'll be doing a live podcast interview. Tickets are available for this event, and there will be a dinner served as well.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Roll call vote. Garfield?
Aye.
Hold on, I do have a hand up. Wait a. Oh, that's for the next one. Sorry. Eric?
Aye.
Ed?
Yes.
Lee?
Aye.
And yes, it's unanimous. Thank you, Mo.
Thank you guys very much.
Next is Jacob's Pillow Dance Festival for one temporary weekday entertainment license for Saturday, July 16th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to grant a temporary weekday entertainment license to a Jacob's Pillow Dance Festival for Saturday, July 16th from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Second.
You want to give us a little information on what you're doing, please?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Tasia Giles, Director of Community Engagement with Jacob's Pillow, and we are thrilled to be returning for our now second annual pop-up performance series on the road. We'll be setting up a stage in Town Hall Park. This event runs 1 hour and is a free dance performance featuring both Berkshire-based artists as well as New York City-based Versus Styles, which is a street dance company. And we had great attendance last year, and we're thrilled to be doing this again in parks throughout Berkshire County, and looking forward to being back in Great Barrington.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Seeing none, roll call vote. Garfield?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Ed?
Yes.
Lee?
Aye.
And yes, it's unanimous.
Thank
Thank
you
you very
all.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
MBA LLC and Stephen Lee and Carolyn Cryer for permission to install at lot 32-19D next to 116 Christian Hill Road. It's a driveway. Sorry, I didn't mention that.
I just opened the mic for Michael Valenti.
Michael, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. Here representing Stephen Lee and Carolyn Cryer for a driveway permit. Just to let you know, there's an error on agenda. It says next to 116. It's actually next to 166 Christian Hill Road.
Thank you.
There's an existing driveway on that property that was used as an access road for a property that has been subdivided. So if you actually go there now, there is actually a curb cut in place already. We're really just upgrading the driveway so we can build a single family house there. I would say the existing driveway meets the bylaw as is. It doesn't pitch into the road. My only question was for DPW, if they wanted a culvert. Water actually pitches away. I don't think it really would work as a culvert, but typically with towns, I ask the DPW to take a look and see if they agree or disagree. So I don't know if you have any correspondence from them or not with you.
Mark or Chris, I guess Mark, I don't see anything from the DPW.
There is a note about culverts here, but we can get clarification for you and connect you with John Malumphie, our highway superintendent.
Perfect. Chris has his hand up.
Yeah, it does say it's not required at this location.
Okay, I didn't see that. Thank you. Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to grant permission to install a driveway at lot 32-19D to MVA LLC and Stephen Lee and Carol Cryer.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, roll call vote. Garfield?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Ed?
Yes.
Lee?
Aye.
And I. It's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is Jennifer Patron and Benjamin Levy for permission to install a new driveway at 73 Round Hill Road.
Benjamin, your mic is open.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi. So we have a current driveway that leads to the garage. It's perfectly good. We're not changing that. We're putting a semicircular gravel driveway in front of the house. So it's an additional driveway.
Chris, do you want, Mark, can you promote Chris on this one? Chris, do you want to add anything to this?
Hi, good evening, board. Chris Rimbold speaking, planning director. In Great Barrington, a maximum of 2 curb cuts are allowed. So in my opinion, the board could could grant the request, but the applicant would have to remove one of the curb cuts, either one end of the U or the main driveway that already exists. It would be up to the applicant, but there should be some condition that one be removed in a, by a certain time.
May I ask what a curb cut is?
That's the curb cut is the entrance of a driveway onto the town road. So in this case, there are 3.
And so one would need to be removed?
That's correct.
So the like one option would be for your circular driveway to go straight into the current driveway as opposed to exiting out onto the road. There's 2 cuts for the circular driveway and 1 for the existing.
And just so you know, this is a town bylaw. We
Right.
can't
This is
override.
nothing, right? We don't have the authority to change that.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
It was the head of the, I guess, the highway department who was driving past when he saw we were already building the driveway, who said, you just need to file for it because unfortunately, currently it's already in. I apologize. I didn't know that I needed permission for this extra driveway. And he said it was fine, but I guess he was misinformed.
And whoever installed your driveway should have known it required a permit.
Yeah, this is Chris speaking. I think, in the field, one might not know that the driveway back to your garage or barn was on your property, but as soon as staff looked at it, we determined that that's, you would have a total of 3 on the property, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah, he wouldn't have known that just in the field.
Who can I talk with some sort of designer or I'm sorry, can I talk about this in person with someone?
Would it be the building inspector who enforces that?
Well, we can't, was the question, can you talk to a designer? Yes, you would certainly be welcome to do that. I think the board would be happy to hear your application again when it conforms or, however you proceed.
Yeah, we have a couple choices tonight. One, as Chris said, we could approve it with a condition. 2, we could turn it down. Or I suppose you could withdraw it and come back to us after you've done some research.
Okay, I guess I will have to reapply at some point. That is what you said, that was one of my options?
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the meantime, you said a building inspector I could speak to?
As far as what's allowed, this is a question. I'm not an authority. I'm asking Chris, right? The building inspector could tell him what's allowed and what's not. He won't recommend what to do, but he can say what's allowed.
I'm not sure, Ed. You're welcome to work directly with me. I'm not sure if the building inspector has jurisdiction here. So I'd be happy to talk with you further.
Okay, thank you. And how do I get in touch with you, sir?
I think I've got your contact information. I'll shoot you an email tonight and
okay,
we'll go from there.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we'll consider this withdrawn. Next is Richard Stanley of the Triplex for temporary permission to serve alcohol and food on the Triplex patio, 70 Railroad Street. Is someone here representing Richard, or is Richard here?
Richard's currently in Canada. He just sent me a text, but it looks like we have a hand raised here from Tim Danner. Tim, your mic is open on our end.
Yep, go right
Sorry
ahead.
about
Explain to us what you're doing.
Yes, we were really just looking to do table service outside on the patio with about 5 cafe tables to serve beer and wine out there on weekends over the summer.
You're breaking up, so your connection's not very good.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes. So you want to serve
We
beer
were
and
looking
wine?
to, yes, on the patio. We were looking to do table service out there with about 5 cafe tables there.
So where would the beer, wine, and food come from? The triplex?
Yes.
Questions? Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
So I'm assuming this will be tip certified, if that's the correct terminology, and the food, where's that coming from? Is that, isn't it this a bit more complicated than just letting them do this?
Yeah, that's why I asked where the food and liquor was coming from.
Well, yes, the food would be provided by the triplex, and yes, everyone would be tip certified.
So the triplex doesn't have food currently.
And they're just serving popcorn.
Right.
Yes.
So your definition of food is popcorn and candy.
Yes, under our current license.
Okay. Just I was confused about that. And the liquor is coming from the triplex, which you do have a license for.
Yes.
Go ahead, Lee.
So a couple things, I worry, I 100% support the triplex and what they're doing. I just have some concerns about people walking around with it and taking it away, and, glass versus plastic. And it just seems like it's a whole new venture. So I just would like some clarity on who's going to make sure that people aren't walking around with it. And is it closed containers or open, or?
We would be.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go answer a question. I'm sorry.
We would be pouring it into plastic containers. That way there is no breakage. It will be supervised by our staff who would be serving the tables.
Is it just patrons that are seeing movies, or are you kind of opening it as an outdoor bar?
I mean, it would be primarily for patrons who would be coming to see movies. That would be what we were looking to serve.
How can we ensure that that's the case, that it's not just an outdoor bar opening up?
Well, every restaurant and bar in town has gotten permission to serve outside. Right? Everybody with a liquor license is now permitted to serve outside once they come through us like this. I'm not sure I see the difference.
I guess it's a movie theater. That's why I'm wondering.
Mark, does this have to go to the ABCC?
No, at this point, this would be an extension of their current permit to serve indoors, and we're still under the temporary guidelines that would allow for this. So
Okay.
Until those disappear, this is acceptable to the state.
Okay, thank you. I just wasn't sure when those expired. More questions?
I was just wondering how the other establishments that are serving beer and wine, et cetera, and food feel about it. And it's just a question. I'm not saying anything against them. I'm just wondering. Seems to me there's plenty of avenues for beer and alcohol in that courtyard.
This is something that Garfield, that this board has struggled with. Not me personally. I think it's a business, and you allow whatever businesses are doing it. We don't stop people from selling soda and other commodities. So why this, as long as it's legal? But I understand this board has struggled with that.
I gotta just, can you, Phil, as far as the triplex goes, they just have a beer and wine license, or is it a full bar license?
Beer and wine.
Just beer and wine, yeah. And so they're asking to serve just beer and wine, popcorn and candy, and they're restricted just to their patio. No other food vendor or alcohol vendor is going to be there. It's just whatever they already have served in their establishment.
That's correct. That's what we're being told, and that's what we're going to approve.
Yeah.
Lee?
Isn't it Depar Wine currently serving on that patio as well? Is this an additional pour license?
Yes, we were partnering with Depart Wine for them to advise what wines to bring in.
So is this a partnership then? It's going to be Depar and the triplex?
Yes.
If
I
I can just,
apologize if that was unclear.
if I can just clarify for a minute, Daypart Wine is licensed as a package store. They're not licensed for any pouring, and they've been notified of that. So any partnerships between the two should be just for advice and pairing, not for service.
Let me ask this question because I'm totally confused. Who is serving is this like waitress service on the patio?
Yes, that is what we are looking to do.
And the people who are waiting on tables, who do they work for?
In the past, it was day part, but if that is not permissible, it would be my staff at the triplex.
So it's a roundabout way to get Daypart Wine an alcohol license, to a bar license.
Not necessarily. They're just advising us on what to bring in with wine and beer.
Did they, I'm sorry, I get my packets printed out, but I don't have this in my packet. Was there?
This was because it came in, it was added, I don't know when it was added, but it was added very late. It wasn't in my package either.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was part of a revised posting. We missed it in the first agenda posting.
Yeah. And so like usually when we do these, there's the seating arrangement and charts and stuff like that. And then something that says like maybe Daypart Wine is going to be involved or not, and who's the owner and stuff. Seems like it would be a good thing to have written down.
If you go online to the town's website, it's on the supplemental packet.
It is on a different packet.
It's next to the revised agenda, just under the agenda.
Is there a seating chart, Ed? I never seen a seating chart.
Yeah, it shows where they're going to do the seating. Out on the deck.
And it is their responsibility to make sure that nothing leaves the area. I mean, that was the same way with any of the restaurants on Main Street or Railroad, that, you can't walk around with an open container. They could go inside to the movie because they have a license for that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the packet. I guess there was a new packet with this included.
So did that come out today, Mark?
I saw the new agenda, but I didn't see a new packet with the seating chart that Ed's looking at.
Sorry, my mic was off. I can share my screen if you just bear with me here for a second.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Can everyone see that?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I don't see the application. That's kind of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I don't see the application and I don't see any seating.
Ed, do you see the application or the seating?
No, I see what he's got up.
Yeah, that's all I see.
Yeah, I feel that this is incomplete. I'd like to get more information personally.
My concern with doing that is that's 2 weeks worth of business that they lose in a very short summer season.
I still have some concerns. I mean, how many tables? The staff is young, most of them are under 21.
Who's employing the staff, I guess, seems to be in question.
Mark, do you know if we received an application?
Hang on one second, if you don't mind. I'll go take a look and see if we have any more information other than what was posted.
Yeah.
I could also see if we could get Richard on. He was planning to attend. My guess is that he may be blocked being out of the country. So just bear with me here one second.
Sorry, I'm not sure if my mic is still open.
Yes, it is.
Richard was planning on attending. He is not able to because he is in Canada and it is blocking him from attending.
Do we know when this application was submitted to us? Because Ed, I share your concerns, except if the application was submitted 3 days ago.
Right.
It's, yeah, you understand what I'm saying. And I wasn't part of this decision to put it on the agenda, but I would have recommended we put it on Wednesday nights. Is it this Wednesday or the next Wednesday? It's the next Wednesday, at least that would be a little sooner than the 20th, which we don't like to do. It's our goal setting meeting, but it'd be a little sooner. But let's see if there's an application, because I'm not sure how we can do this without an application.
So the only additional information I was able to locate was an email from Richard that says the narrative, which is what we requested, is as follows. We wish to extend the ability to serve beverages that were already licensed to sell and serve to our outdoor veranda.
What's the board's wishes?
I would like to see an application, and I would like to delay this.
I would as well.
I'd go ahead, but if there's one more who wants to delay.
Yeah, I think we should delay it. It didn't seem like we got the full story right away. And I think they need to regroup and come back. So.
I'm willing to put this on the agenda for the goal setting meeting, assuming that if we get a real application and understand it, that shouldn't take too much of that time. It should be 5 or 10 minutes. So do I have a motion to continue it? Of course, it would help if I knew the date.
A week from Wednesday.
The 20th.
Yeah.
At 6 o'clock.
So moved.
And do I have a second? Did I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
So could we ask them for a seating plan and specifics
Yeah.
other than, I'm assuming that'll all be in there. And,
Yeah.
and clarification on the relationship with Depot Wine, please.
Roll call vote. Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
Ed.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And I. So please let Richard know, or you, it will be on the 20th. It'll be on the agenda at 6 o'clock.
Okay, I will do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next is public hearings. Special permit application from the Southern Berkshire Chamber of Commerce, Betsy Andrus, Executive Director for new construction in the Village Center Overlay District. Work includes replacing the existing visitor booth at approximately 362 Main Street, Great Barrington, with a new larger building in the same location and a parking waiver. Application is filed in accordance with section 9.2, 6.9, and 10.4 of the zoning bylaw. Betsy, do you want to start us off?
Should I make a motion to reopen the meeting?
I was just going to ask you to make a motion to open the public. Thank you. Go right ahead.
I'd like to make a motion, please, to reopen the public.
Second.
Roll call vote. Garfield. Eric.
Aye.
Ed.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And I. It's unanimous. Now, Betsy, please go ahead.
Okay. Is it okay if I just take a minute to do a few words clarifying some things because there seems to be some confusion.
It's your floor.
Okay, great. So just to clarify, all chambers are determined by the state. We're the Southern Berkshire Chamber. We represent 9 towns, with the economic hub being Great Barrington. 76% of our members are in Great Barrington, and 93% of them do business in Great Barrington. So obviously that's our mass majority. All chambers are nonprofits, but unfortunately we're a 501c6. Which is kind of an oddity. So we don't qualify, we're not eligible for all the benefits that a normal nonprofit is eligible for, and we can't usually apply for most grants that are out there. So our mission is to promote business prosperity and a healthy, inclusive community by providing information, services, and advocacy for our members. We don't receive federal money, state money, or town money. We solely survive on our membership dues and our events incomes. We also we're not kind of a glamour choice for people to donate. It's not like it's a bad thing, but just saying most of the time people don't say, hey, I think I'll donate to the chamber today. It's just not really that kind of a thing. So I won't go on endlessly, but for the past 4 years, we've been in search of a more visual place that will house everything that we do so that we can service the community 7 days a week. So the way we have been since 1920. But I'm sure we're all aware of the, in the past 4 years, the cost of things, and especially with COVID, the cost of rent and the cost of trying to buy something it's very hard. And I can honestly say we have touched base or had meetings with every single possible property owner to no avail. So we turned our sights back on the location that we have, which is 51 years old. Parts of it is 51 years old. The second half was added 40 years ago. The current location is 12 foot by 30 feet, and it sits in the right of way. So it is not a building lot. So everything about it is a little unusual. It is currently 15 feet tall. It has, and it was licensed to service multiple businesses. To the visitors booth, half-price tickets, and also I don't know the date, or I don't know the year, but Bill's Pharmacy, when Mel Drugs was sold to Brooks, Bill's Pharmacy petitioned the select board to move the bus stop there and to sell tickets there. So multiple businesses have run out of that location at the same time. To the best of my knowledge and the searching that I did, there has been 0 parking issues or traffic issues. There's never been an accident in that location because the nature of everything being done there is quick. It's a 20-minute, in and out. Get your information, ask a few questions, buy your ticket, you're out. Currently the structure needs repairs. We've replaced window panes, we've replaced the doors, we've replaced a lot. They redid the sidewalk in front when they did the Main Street reconstruction. As we said, we have very limited funds, but during COVID, there came available an SBA loan with an extremely low interest rate. So we borrowed what we could afford to borrow, which is not a huge amount. And we have now, the clock has been ticking, and we are about a year away from having to repay it. With our budget, the way we calculated it is if everything becomes under one roof, then we can afford to take the funds we use for rent and appropriate them to the loan that we would need to rebuild. We do not have the funds to pay for both. And thankfully, for all these years, Richard Stanley has graciously rented us space that has been affordable, and thank you to him. So we are extremely happy to get public input. We have heard the few things that have been said to us in the meetings. Unfortunately, some of them are contradictory to each other, so it was hard to follow. we do not have to have the outside of the building looking the way we drew it. We solely drew it that way in keeping with the look of the existing shed that's there and the look of the neighborhood if you walk south. Kind of a colonial, just a very simple look. It does not have to look that way. What it has to do for us is be functioning. It has to have 2 offices and a place where it's a safe visitor center where people can walk in without being on top of the person that's there to help them. So that's real, and storage for the holiday stroll, because as we know, the holiday stroll encompasses a lot of stuff, and storage every month, it seems like the price is going up. So that's what we're trying to achieve, is everything in one place. And we feel that's a benefit to everyone, the business community and the visiting community and the local community, because then we're there 7 days a week to assist. Let's see. So we have had a few offers of help, and we have tried to get together a few architects to get some input to guide us in a different direction with the look of the outside. Unfortunately, I'm sure all of us are aware of how stretched thin everybody is, but especially contractors, architects, subcontractors. It's been a crazy time for everybody. So we certainly don't hold anything against them. They want to help. They just don't have the time. So therefore, we have not been able to get everybody together to say, okay, what can we do to make the community really happy about what we're doing? Unfortunately, we just have to move forward because for us, the clock is ticking and we don't know. We really need some guidance. So just because I want the community to be aware, because I think sometimes things happen that we just take for granted, kind of. Some additional things in the past year and a half that the chamber does happily that concerns Great Barrington is we sit on the Great Barrington Downtown Cultural District. We sat in on the Growing Better Great Barrington Committee. We sat in on the Workforce Housing Group. We sat in to try to help the Housatonic Improvement Committee with their event coming up. We sat in on the Downtown Wi-Fi Group and offered to assist facilitate funds to where they need to be. We sat in to try to be a liaison between the retail community and the town for the Railroad Street Dining. We sit in on the Art Week committee to help with upcoming Art Week in September. We are helping Garfield with the Great Barrington Locals Days, and we're helping the Great Barrington firefighters with the car show. And those are just in this year and a half. So we're also the group that facilitated all of the communication and marketing for the Main Street reconstruction to try to make the community feel at ease with that big undertaking. So we feel that we try to, and we feel we help the town a lot. And now we're really asking for some help and some guidance to figure out how can we do this so everybody's happy and have the things that we want. And one thing I know that keeps coming up, so I'll just say it right now. Many people have asked us about putting in a public restroom. So 2 years ago, we approached the town about putting in the public restroom at the north side of the visitors booth. We offered to lease it back to them. For us, it would be a small bit of income. The town would have a public restroom. At that time, the select board declined that offer. And not this past town meeting, but the year before, the town did vote to appropriate funds to build a public restroom on the back of the town hall. So a lot of people ask that question right off the bat. And when I tell them that, I guess they just weren't familiar with that. So we feel that the public restroom situation has been addressed by the town and probably is not something that we would be doing. So I guess I would just look for help and guidance and to figure out how we can move this forward and facilitate.
Thank you, Betsy. We'll start with questions from the board.
I have one question, actually. I don't know if I need to recuse myself from working very closely with Betsy. I do endorse the Southern Berkshire Chamber of Commerce, and I have a little bias, I will admit.
Those are all questions you have to answer. We all work with Betsy. I mean, if we couldn't find a jury if she went to trial, that somebody in Great Barrington that hasn't worked with Betsy at one point or another. But as far as whether you feel biased and shouldn't participate in this, that's firmly your call and not something that I can give you advice on, Garfield. I'll let you think about it while other people may ask questions and you can make that decision. Anyone else have, Lee, go ahead.
Thank you, Betsy. So I definitely agree that something needs to be done. And my main concern is the fact that there hasn't been an architect directly involved in the design. I had reached out to an architect, Pamela Sandler, who I believe is on the phone tonight, and she's a member of the chamber. So I don't know if she would be willing to possibly help out. But I would, if it's not Pamela, my hope would be that we would get someone that is certified that could guide this process a little bit more than it has been. So I wonder if
Lee, we just promoted Pam, so if you would like, we'll.
Oh,
Pam. Hi, Pam. Just unmute yourself. Pam, go right ahead.
I like to be promoted. Yeah, Betsy, you've done an amazing job, and without help of architects. And basically, I made several calls today. I have 3 other architects who will join in this. I guess my biggest concern as a I live in Great Barrington. I drive by that building every single day. And I feel it's a very important building to the town. I mean, it's one of the first things people see when they come into town. And really, it's an impression. It's a gateway. I feel it should look like it's been there, or be more of a, not a wild statement, but an interesting little, I mean, it's a jewel of a building. I don't know in terms of building codes, bathrooms, things like that. You say it's ADA accessible, but there's not a bathroom in there. And I don't know it, it seems to me one would have to be in that building, but that would be something, and, we would look at as a group. One idea in speaking with other architects was to put the project out as a request for proposal to architects. It's a great little project. I think we would get some really interesting proposals from people. It's a jewel of a project. So, I mean, I know a young couple up in Pittsfield are doing really interesting work. There's a lot of new local people who've moved to the area who are architects, also have fresh and different ideas. But Betsy, I don't want you to feel like you're hanging out there all by yourself. In reading through all the notes, it looks like the entire building has to be raised if you're going to put a frost wall underneath it. So that's a whole question. And I'm sure there's tons of questions of having to build in a public right of way and highway commission and all that. So it's a complicated little tiny project also, but I'm willing to help the town in any way I can. And I have asked specifically, Jonathan Hankin said he would work with me, and Stephen Dietman said he would work with me. And I can I know we had this discussion in February and it's been crazy. So, but I saw it come out again and I said, I've got to jump in here. So
as a select board, this is kind of an unusual position. Usually a special permit, we hear the presentation and then we ask questions, etc. So as what I would like to see us do with the board's permission, instead of us taking a lot of time, let's continue this to it. We have to give a time and date certain, but let's continue this because you're going to come back with something that's could be significantly different than what's before us. So for us to tell you what we like or don't like about what's before us seems like a waste of everyone's time. So Pam, you tell me, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, not for a final plan, but just for a further discussion.
Why don't we push it to 8 weeks? I have to get all my team on board and everyone's summer vacation, if that's okay.
That's you okay with that?
Yeah, as long as we're moving forward.
Okay, I do have a question for you, Betsy. When I did speak to John Hankin, he basically said that, I said, well, did they come in front of the design review committee? He said they did, and they had lots of things to say. Have any of those been put into the new design?
No, they have not been put into the new design, with the exception of moving, because a frost wall foundation would have to be put in. We requested to move the building back 5 feet, so that we didn't tear up the new sidewalk. And in doing that, a couple of the things that were said at that meeting, the design advisory meeting, with the request of plantings in the front, and the possibility of putting the overhang in the front, could apply, because now we're moving it back off of the sidewalk.
Understand. Okay. Okay.
So if the board is okay with it, I would entertain a motion to move it to September 19th at 6 o'clock.
Can I just mention one concern I have other than the architecture?
Sure.
Or just so they have this to take with them, which is, it seems to me there are 4 uses that are being talked about. Storage, office space, a visitor center, and a bathroom. And visitor center, I think we all agree, that's what it's always been, and that needs to be there. Bathroom, the chamber doesn't seem to want to pay the costs of. And as far as storage and office space, there are a lot of nonprofits in town who do a lot of things for the town. The one that comes to mind is Flying Cloud, that educates our children, doesn't ask us to provide office space. They're paying rent on their office space. So I just, if those other uses, storage and office space, are going to make this building bigger than it otherwise would need to be, that's a concern. If there's a way to design it so that doesn't add to the space, that's fine. But that would be a concern for me, that we're, right, every nonprofit has financial problems, and every nonprofit would love to have free rent. If we're doubling the size of this building, the height of this building, it's just a concern. And again, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not casting a vote at this point. It's just so the architects know.
No,
can I just clarify that? So we're not asking for free rent.
No, I mean, you want the building big enough to put your office into it so you don't have to pay rent somewhere else.
Correct. So there's no way we can afford to pay back the loan of rebuilding the visitors booth and pay rent. We can't do it. And I love Flying Cloud, or I obviously I work with all these nonprofits every day. So I'm glad to see them get funding and grants and whatnot. But that's the benefit. They can apply for some of those things where we cannot. We're just not eligible because of the distinction of the state. So.
Okay. So let's get a motion to continue this to September 19th at 6 p.m. There's a hand up, and I'm inclined just to ask, I don't want to get into the plans, but this may be something, Scott Sains, do you have anything you just want to add?
Yeah, I do want to add that I'm a member of the chamber as well, and I've seen Betsy struggle with this now for several meetings in a row for several months. We have 3 things going on here. We're time constrained, and we're money constrained, and we serve at the pleasure of the community. We're here for the businesses and the community. So it's fantastic that Pam is willing to devote her time, but I just want the select board to know that we're making every effort we can to make this building the best we can under the circumstances we present. But simply, it's this simple. We don't have the money to do more, and we don't have the time to do more. So I don't mind this being continued, because there's real obvious reasons why we need an architect to look at this. And I can understand the board doing this. But when we come back in 8 weeks, we really do need an answer. as to whether we can proceed with this for the benefit of this community or we can't. Because
So Scott, let me just clarify one thing, which you already know, because I know your background. If the chamber said they didn't want us to continue it, we would happily move ahead with it tonight. But my fear is, and I've been active, not in the chamber, but obviously my business was many feet from the chamber. And so I remember the old red building. I remember when this was built, etc. I don't want this as it is to be voted down, and then you'll have no chance. So I'd love to see, you know, the 2 months. Pam was very honest about the time length, and I'd love to see you come back with something that we all say, wow, and that's terrific, and that it has a better chance of being approved. If the chamber right now said, no, we want to push this along, I'd go along with it, but I think it would be a big mistake.
I think that, and I understand your position. I'm just asking the select board lower its expectation on the wow factor, understand our limitations, and we're going to do everything we can in this 8 weeks to get this done. But understand we've got these limitations that Betsy's articulated. And if the community wants this visitor center to be nicer and better for the chamber, which is better for everybody, let's work together and get it through.
Sounds good. So do I have a motion to continue to September 19th, 6 p.m.?
I make a motion to continue this to September 19th at 6 p.m.
Second.
So we're continuing the public hearing at September 19th at 6 p.m. in a second. Chris, that's done in the proper fashion?
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call vote, Garfield. You're muted, Garfield.
Aye.
Thank you. Eric.
Aye.
Ed.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And I, it's unanimous. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Can I just say a thank you to Pam Chandler, because I kind of put her on the spot today, and I just wanted to say, you know, special thank you for stepping up. So
Thanks, Pam.
and thank you, obviously, to Betsy for all your hard work.
Okay, all right. Thank you, guys. Good night.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is a transfer station fee discussion.
Okay, I can lead us off on this one. So last month, we received notice from Valley Roll-Off. Valley is our contractor for our transfer station, that effective immediately disposal fees for certain items, mattresses, box springs, couches, love seats, recliners, things of that nature. The disposal fees for these types of items would double in some cases. So that prompted us to request that this board, as you recall, impose an immediate moratorium on disposal of these items until we could take a look at our current fee schedule and also post a public hearing, which is required under our town code. So the last time we reviewed this fee schedule was 2014, so we're due anyway. And we're suggesting that this board consider increases sufficient to cover these rising costs for the furniture items I just mentioned, and also some modest increases across the board. So in your packet for this evening, you should have received an executive summary, a proposed fiscal 23 fee schedule, and the original 2014 fee schedule.
I just have a question, Mark. The way it's on the agenda, even though it's under public hearings, isn't in the usual format. Do we have to have a public hearing? And it doesn't say anything about a vote on the agenda.
It's not very clear in our town code either. So I would suggest that we just follow the traditional format for a public hearing, just to be safe. And I don't see any reason why you can't take a vote tonight.
Okay. So do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Roll call vote, Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
Ed.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And I. I'll take public comment. Just raise your hand if anyone wants to speak. This is a good time to tell you there were 8 attendees and 20 members of the public at the height. Motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Roll call vote. Garfield,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Ed,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and I. It's unanimous. Board members, what's your pleasure?
It's, I don't understand their fees, but they are their fees, so we need to charge them.
Excellent way of putting it.
Air conditioner costs the same amount as a refrigerator.
Excellent question.
But
So do I have a motion?
Yes. I make a motion to recommend that the select board vote to increase the transfer station fees as proposed on the 2 pages that were in the packet.
the motion ought to be that we're increasing it, right? Not that we're recommending you to increase it.
Oh, that we're actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we adopt the what's before us. Yes.
Okay, I'd make a motion that we vote to adopt the transfer station fees as proposed.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote. Garfield,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Ed,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and I. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. New business. The Housatonic School request for proposals. This is process and timeline. Chris or Mark?
So yeah, I'll go ahead and lead us off. Chris and I will both try to help you through this one here. As you know, the deadline for proposals was extended into June, and we received 4 sealed proposals. So that's great news. And in accordance with the RFP, staff is recommending that the board open these proposals at our next meeting, which would be July 25th. And at that time, we can discuss the process and path forward. So, and that's assuming the board's comfortable with that timeline.
Seems to make sense. The sooner the better. So is everyone comfortable with that? I don't think we need a motion. Is everyone comfortable with it?
So just so I understand, we're gonna, our next meeting, July 25th, we'll open all the envelopes, read them, and then map the way forward, basically is what you're saying. They will be open the next meeting, I guess, when I'm.
Correct. And something to think about between now and then is how you would like us to move forward. Would you like staff to review these and report back to the board? Would the board like to make those decisions publicly? That's something we can discuss on the 25th.
So I'd like to speed this up a little bit. To me, the process that would work the best is if the staff opens these and presents us at the next meeting with a spreadsheet of each proposal and you know, all the parts of it that are there so that we can start moving ahead instead of opening them next time, we're not going to read them at a meeting. So we're going to then put it off for another couple of weeks. Would that be possible?
They have to be open publicly, but it doesn't have to be our meeting, right?
Correct.
It does say that they'll be opened in public and recorded. And one thing that David Tedeschi, our attorney, did suggest is that we could just advertise that we will be opening them at this date and this time, like a bid opening. So that is something staff could do to speed the process up for you, if that's helpful.
Or this is Chris speaking, or you could just put it on your strategic goal agenda coming up, open them real quick, move along. It doesn't give staff a lot of time from opening to evaluate before your next meeting, but at least it gets the ball rolling.
How much time?
Without the need for like a week or 2 weeks of advertising a public opening date.
Do you need to advertise a public opening date, or could it just be a posted meeting 2 days?
I think a posted meeting is okay, but.
Yeah.
So why don't we do that?
Have to advertise.
Why don't we do it at a goal setting meeting on, I think it's still the 20th.
Yes.
So why don't we do that? That'll speed us a little bit. It may not be perfect, but I think it's better than waiting to open it at our next meeting. Everyone comfortable with that?
Mhm. I just had a question. So once it's open, will we then be able to look at it and from that point on to the next meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll be public at that point.
Yeah.
And that's really my hope, Lee, you're right, is that we can start to read it. So we're not gonna read it at a meeting. So, okay, so I think the plan is there.
Thank you. We'll plan to add that to the agenda for the 20th.
Just remember, we've added 2 things to the goal setting meeting. Don't blame me. I thought it was a good idea, but I know sometimes board members will say, I was supposed to be only goal setting. Well, there's always things we can do, and I think it's a good idea. Next is a reappointment of Robert Slonaker to the Affordable Housing Trust. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to appoint Robert Slonaker to the Affordable Housing Trust.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote. Garfield,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Ed,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and I. It's unanimous. Next is appointment of James Mercer to the Historical Commission. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to appoint James Mercer to the Historical Commission.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Garfield,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Ed,
Yeah.
Lee,
Aye.
and I. It's unanimous. Do we have the proclamation to celebrate National Disability Independence Day?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Proclamation to celebrate National Disability Independence Day. Whereas National Disability Independence Day commemorates the signing of Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, on July 26, 1990. The ADA provides protection from employment discrimination, as well as better access to goods, services, and communications for people with disabilities. And whereas the day not only celebrates the anniversary of the ADA, but also serves several other purposes. The law first broke down barriers that individuals with disabilities face every day. It also marked a timeline of change that soon developed. Over time, common barriers such as narrow doors and small bathroom stalls became accessible to wheelchairs. Other examples includes braille signs and crosswalks for the vision impaired. The changes improved mobility and safety. And whereas beyond structural changes, the Americans with Disabilities Act motivated designers to enhance technology. Often, physical limitations restrict a person's ability to access legal or health information. New assistive technologies make it possible to obtain the necessary information. And whereas, as accessibility improves, the world continues to change in other ways. Many of today's brick and mortar businesses are ADA compliant. However, as more and more businesses switch to online versions, their websites need to meet the needs to be accessible too. With each advancement in technology, designers need to incorporate multifunctional approaches to fit every ability. And whereas we encourage all employers or designers to consider how accessible your business is to people with disabilities. The ADA empowers people with disabilities to stand up for their rights and to give shout outs to accessible businesses and organizations. Everyone is encouraged to use hashtag Disability Independence Day and share on social media. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Select Board of the Town of Great Barrington hereby recognizes July 26th as National Disability Independence Day, the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act that passed in 1990. And be it further resolved that the Town of Great Barrington Select Board calls upon our citizens, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to affirm the principles of equality and inclusion for persons with disabilities, to celebrate the ADA inspires with forward-thinking design and technology, and to bring forth the promise of hope and freedom that is envisioned by the passage of the ADA.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
I have a quick question.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Did this come from or through the town's Commission on Disability? Do we know?
It did not. This was brought forward by Carmen in my office, and this was something that the board passed for the first time in 2021.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote. Garfield?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
And aye, it's unanimous. Thank you very much. Citizen speak time. Gabrielle Senza, go right ahead.
Good evening. Thank you. Gabrielle Senza from Knob Hill. Studio is on Railroad Street. A lot of business tonight. I am here to just speak to the one main question and issue and concern that I've had as a Great Barrington resident for decades now, and that is the safe crossing of our main streets. And I'm really sad that I was not at the last meeting when this was discussed and we had the professional traffic people there to talk with, and that there hasn't been more discussion about this. It seems to me, from what I've gathered from that meeting, the video of it, and what I kind of gathered from tonight's little beginning part, which I missed part of, that you're not, the select board voted to not take the recommendation of the professional planners. What I want to say is that, well, this is a plea to reopen the discussion regarding pedestrian safety and vehicle safety crossing priorities, okay? The major problem is the 4 lanes and the blind spot that is created for any driver of the outside lanes. I know you all know this, most people spoke to it. I'm really surprised that extending 2 lanes of traffic, one south, one north, for another block or 2 is such a great distress for some drivers when it actually means people will survive crossing the street. So I know that it just does not make any sense that there would be 4 lanes of traffic through the most populated section of town where people are constantly trying to cross the street. I heard also select board members at the last meeting that was recorded complaining about people crossing the street and being very distracted. I have crossed the street. I'm never distracted. I've seen people hit at that intersection, and I still take my time and I'm very cautious and actually flag down drivers that are trying to blow through there. So it is a danger to everyone. And I'm asking, what is it so important for you to get to in such a hurry that you couldn't slow down for another 2 more blocks or 3 blocks with 2 lanes of traffic? I would really like you to reopen and rediscuss this matter. And I know that goes against the grain. I think you said something about that today, Steve, earlier, that you made a decision, we have to go forward with it. Well, I would like to ask you to pause and take the advice of these professionals very seriously. Other cities all over the country and throughout all of Berkshire County have 2-lane traffic through their main streets, and their emergency vehicles can get through. I know we can do this, and this would be a terrible, terrible opportunity to throw away when the traffic is being done now. So I really, really, if other cities can do it, we can do it too. I expect.
Gabrielle, your time is up, so just wrap up, please.
I would really like to see you bring this forward again and to reconsider.
Thank you very much, Kendra. Ben Elliott?
Hi, I just had a question about the RFP proposal for the school. Once they're unsealed, I believe you said that they'd be available publicly, and I was
Yes.
curious if they'd be available on the website when that
Yeah.
happens.
Yes, they will be.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. Bill Cook?
Looks like Michelle's.
Let Bill go first. Bill was first.
Okay,
on the list.
All right, you can hear me now?
Yes, we can, Bill.
So I'd like to speak to the free bus pass program. I sent you all an email sort of explaining that we had a free bus program and it was much more popular than anticipated, I think. And I'd like to see the board allocate some money to continue that program through the summer.
So, Bill, the problem is it wasn't on the agenda, so we're not going to vote on it, but if the board is pleased with this, we can put it on Wednesday.
That'd be great. I would appreciate it.
On the 20th.
I distributed the bus passes and the senior center and Fairview, and there's several places that are completely out now. And it was kind of advertised as being going throughout the summer. So I'd like to see if you could find some way to do that, that'd be great.
We'll put on the agenda. I don't hear anyone saying no from the board, so we'll put it on the agenda for
As part of that, can we ask staff to see if there's money, or if assuming they think it's a good idea, where money might come from?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was thinking even ARPA money, because this is something that's going to get more people to ride the bus. And if we can get more people riding the bus, it works out for everyone.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, thank you.
Michelle, go ahead.
Michelle Loubier, 70 Division Street. I have 3 quick things. This weekend, 3 times I was driving down Main Street. Actually, I drove down Main Street more than 3 times, but 3 times pedestrians were jaywalking. One time, my husband and I were driving down and somebody walked right out in front of us and they were looking at a cell phone. So I just wanted to explain that. I'm sure some of us who grew up here remember when a police officer used to walk up and down Main Street and keep an eye on such things. So maybe we should start thinking about going back a couple decades for a street cop on Main Street. Secondly, I was talking to neighbors on Division Street this weekend about another matter, and several times the dangerous intersection at Route 41 and Division Street came up. And twice on Sunday, I had close calls at that intersection. So I have just done a public records request regarding some information regarding the intersection. So I'd like to put that on your radar. And as I'm watching the select board meeting, I'm also monitoring Housatonic neighbors, and you're going into executive session on Housatonic water. And there's brown water reported again as you're meeting right now. And people are going, is somebody going to do something about this? So I know, Eric, you're in tune with Housatonic neighbors. You may want to take a look at that. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Michelle. Select board time. Garfield.
Yes, I would like to make mention again of the ARPA money that I've been speaking with Mark on with the news break. I think we need to do something. I was thinking it's a Band-Aid maybe, but right now we can use this tourniquet until we can get something better. But I think it really still needs to be addressed. I have not heard from what's been discussed about the ARPA money and helping out buying filters, etc. With another break, it seems even more important at this point. And I really think we need to do something now.
Eric.
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Ed.
Nothing.
Lee.
To follow up on the Main Street discussion that I raised at the beginning of the meeting, I'd like to officially request that we ask the 2 experts to come back for the July 25th meeting
I don't know if it'll be July 25th, but we will ask them to come back. I already told you that at the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah, I was just asking for a date, that's all.
Yeah, but we have to go by their schedule.
Yeah, I mean, that was just the request, see if they
Yeah,
were
no,
available.
but we'll get them back as soon as they're available.
Thank you.
Thank you. Media time. Next, we will convene into executive session not to return an open session under MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A for the following purpose. Number 3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation regarding Housatonic Waterworks. And number 6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate regarding Housatonic Waterworks. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to convene into executive session under MGL 30A, Section 21A for the following purpose. To discuss strategy with respect to litigation regarding Housatonic Waterworks and to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate regarding Housatonic Waterworks.
Second.
Oh, there's a little more to that.
Oh, motion.
No, where it says because an open discussion may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position, the purpose. Is that not on yours?
Because an open discussion may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the board and to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate regarding Housatonic Works, because an open discussion may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body and not to return to open session.
Thank you. Then I have a second. Roll call vote. Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
Ed.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And I. And also to go into executive session under MGL Chapter 38, Section 21A for the following purpose. Number 7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements. Do I have that motion?
I move that the board meet in executive session pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21, to approve executive session minutes from the following meetings: August 27th, 2021, September 27th, 2021, November 15th, 2021, July 13th, 2022, and not to return to open session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Garfield.
Aye.
Eric.
Aye.
Ed.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And I. It's unanimous. Thank you, everyone. We will go into open executive session now.